Good afternoon. You are welcome to the Start Me Up Business Programme here on Community Radio, Kilkenny City. On the Start Up Business Programme today, we are discussing why is business management, communications, leadership and mentoring so important for startups and small local traders. As startups and small local traders, we all want a roadmap for strategic business planning for our businesses. We as business owners all know our business. However, we don't all know business management or be aware that there are specific business management roles, responsibilities and skills we need to develop and grow, sustain our businesses, startups and small local businesses. So why is business management so important and vital to us all to know, learn and understand, grow and sustain our businesses? I'm delighted to introduce today's guest on the Start Me Up Business Programme, Mark Ivers. Mark is co-founder of Coventry Global, which is an international consulting training firm that delivers breakthrough solutions in leadership, development, communication skills, IT, negotiations and health and safety, and in design of development of new, more efficient wellness programs. As co-founder of the company, Mark runs operations and management consulting across tech, engineering, retail and hospitality industries. Mark improves team performance as well as business efficiencies and effectiveness through departments, team evaluation, business method auditing, organisational structuring and tailored training. Coventry Global offers over 80 training courses in 8 languages across Ireland and Europe, with a goal of providing relative and practical training to all levels of staff, from start-up entrepreneurs to senior level executives at public companies. Mark Ivers, you are so very welcome to the Start Me Up Business Programme here on Community Radio, Kilkenny City.
Roisin, thanks very much for having me.
Well, Mark, I had the pleasure of you being one of my trainers and mentors on a essential business course through ISME, and I tell you, it just completely blew me away. I was a sponge for every bit of information and knowledge that you were saying.
Well, it's very kind of you, and thank you for the lovely intro. It was a really good course that we did, because what we were really looking at was how people run their businesses and their mindset towards how they run their businesses. A lot of people go in and think, oh, I've got an idea, I'm going to go create this company, and forget the fact that, I have to go out and have business skills to do this. I have to learn how to plan. I have to learn how to strategize. I have to learn that running a business takes a lot more than just having a great idea. And that's what, we were trying to get across in terms of people's organizational skills to running businesses, because in the end you could have the greatest entrepreneur in the world who just comes up with amazing ideas but can never deliver on them because their management skills aren't there, their organizational skills aren't there. And you'll find that some of the more successful businesses, as you find, aren't necessarily the smartest people, aren't necessarily the most creative people, but are more than likely the best managers and the most organized.
So, Mark, what is business management and what skills are required for a business manager?
Well, business management itself would be considered kind of coordination and organization of business activities. So it's when we start a business, we have to be 3 different people, all right? Anyone who starts a business, and those 3 different people fight with each other. One of them is that entrepreneur, that big thinker. Where are we going to be? Oh, great ideas. I want to be somewhere in the next 3 years. I want this company to be massive, or I want it to deliver X, Y, and Z. But the fact is that you have to get there. So you need a manager, someone who's looking at how all operations take place across a year. And you have to be that person as well. So you're looking at how I manage the business. So you're looking at how I coordinate ideas, how I plan for the future, how I deliver, and how I continually assess all the different goals we were looking to hit. Are we doing it the right way? Is there anywhere we can improve? So you're the entrepreneur and the manager. The other person you have to be as well is the technician. The fact of the matter is if you start any sort of business, let's say a hairdresser's, you actually have to cut the hair and style the hair. So you have to do that part as well. All right? So being those 3 people is very difficult, and they're always fighting each other internally. You want to make those big plans, but you're going to have to get up and do the day-to-day job. But managing it is the planning. You have to plan what are the different roles that need to be taking place for any sort of business. And those sort of roles would include, you have to know about marketing, you have to know about accounting, you have to know about the legals involved in your business, and you have to be doing your research, your market research, looking at where are the gaps in the market, where am I aiming at, who are the type of people who will purchase my product or my service. All of these different areas have to be explored. So when you're managing a business, you're doing planning, you're organising, you're directing, and you're controlling. You're doing all of these different things as you go out, and that's essentially what business management is.
And you're also checking the finances as well. Do we have the finances to do this?
Yeah, so it's one of the more scarier things for people when they start a business. They look out and they say, oh, well, I've never got any financial planning in my past. I don't have an accountancy degree. I didn't do economics. I didn't do business. And they think looking at an Excel spreadsheet like looking at Swahili in front of them. And I can understand that for most people. What I'd say to everyone, and you, as I said, you were very kind with your intro about me, but well, I've a BA in economics and I've an MBA in finance. So it's easy for me to say, oh, finance is easy. But the fact is that I could take all of that, rip it all up and throw it in the bin, because it did not help me in running a business. Mm-hmm. And especially from the start. It helped me if I wanted to get into the big corporate world. But if I wanted to just run a business, I had to learn to do so many different things. And one of them was learning how to do simple cash flow statements, how to do business accounting planning. All right? And it isn't as hard as people would make out. My main recommendation with some of this stuff, and if you don't take anything from this, from listening to me today, is the one thing you should take, if there is an area that you find incredibly difficult, go out and seek professional help. Because right now you're or you're running your business, or you're thinking of starting a business. All of these things are difficult, but what you should do is realize that there are plenty of other people who have started businesses in the area you need help. You know, you don't have to go out there and be getting a huge accounting firm to be doing your accounts. There's people out there who have bookkeeping companies, who have small accountancy firms that aren't charging an arm and a leg to give you a little bit of a help. There are people out there that are doing marketing and social or digital marketing as small businesses who aren't going to charge you crazy numbers to get their help. So that is part of managing a business, is managing the type of professional help that you could get. The thing you do need, and the skill you really need to learn, is that when you're handed something like a cash flow statement, that you can at least read it. And look, there are simple courses online or anywhere that you can go and learn this stuff, because, I mean, YouTube is probably the greatest tool with all of this now, and where you can go out and say, okay, teach me what a cash flow statement is, teach me what a balance sheet is, and teaching you in a very basic way, because that's all you need to know. You need to know what the people are doing the hard work for are doing the right thing. You don't need to be spending your time on it, because as a manager, as a business manager, your time is precious. You'll talk to any entrepreneur out there and they'll say, what's the one thing that they don't have enough of? And it's absolutely time. Time over money. You know, I had an old mentor of mine years ago who ran a huge company in America. And he said to me, the day he retired, he said, the weirdest thing, I'm 30 years in this business, and the first thing in the morning, I'd be in the shower and I'm not thinking of my business anymore. And I didn't know what to do with myself. Because that's what entrepreneurs and business managers do every day. That's what you're thinking about. And so your time is precious. Use professional help in those sort of areas to get you, and that is, and then manage those people.
And that's really crucial too, being able to manage the people.
Absolutely. I think it's funny. I do a bunch of start your own business type courses for local enterprise offices, and one of the things I say to people when they're in there is to be an entrepreneur and to run a business and to be a manager of a business, you actually have to be approachable. and you have to be a people person. It's when you list the sort of characteristics that exist for entrepreneurs, and there's a heap of them when you think about it, that should really reflect what an entrepreneur should be. One of them is absolutely approachable, because if you're looking for, say, funding, and someone's they're investing in you, they're buying from you, especially if you run a business on your own, or you're a small SME, you're in charge. People invest in you, and that's by giving you their business, or let's say investing in capital in the stock in the company. But the fact is that they're buying from you. So even if you shy away from the fact that, maybe I wouldn't be the most approachable person, you got to fake it till you make it, because it's one of these things, and it's a learnable skill. I always said about you're told there's long lists of characteristics of people who run businesses and are business managers, and like I said, I've all these letters behind my name, but I had to learn quite a lot of them. Like people laugh quite a lot, but I would be very much poor at social engagement, even though my entire job now is engaging with people and talking in front of people. But that took a long time for me to learn, and to do that is practice, and it's walking into work with a smile. I know it sounds corny nearly, but in doing something like that and learning that, hey, I have to talk to everybody, I have to feel like people that interact with me want to interact with me, want to purchase from me, want to buy from me, want to invest in me, want to work with me. Okay? And in doing that, you then have people realizing, I want to follow this person, I want to work with this person, and this person is a good manager / leader of this business. And managing people isn't easy.
No.
And we know that because you are the one, the buck stops with the leader. The buck stops with you. So you're the one taking all the risk. You're the one that has gone from maybe being in a 9-to-5 job to now running your own business. It's on you. Anyone who works with you, be it an accountant, be it a social media marketer, be it someone who just works in your shop, that's just a job for them. With you, it's your company, it's your baby. You are the one in charge, and because of that, you are now suddenly have more pressure, and the pressure is that people need to like you. While if everyone else just feels, I'm just doing my job, that's fine. So everyone else is allowed to have, different moods, different ways of doing business, or in turns having a bad day. You're not allowed, and that's it's the unfortunate luck of the draw on how you do it, but it's how you lead. And so to do that and manage people and be a part-time shrink really half the time, to know what moods people are in and make yourself approachable and make sure that you're getting the best out of the people that work with you, that has to mean that you are somebody that people like. And early on, it's very important. It's a different story if you're the CEO of a big Fortune 500 type company and you've thousands and thousands of employees. Your public persona has to be, without reproach, but internally you can have conversations, you can have different mindsets, because the company's founded, the company has a foundation. At this stage, anything you do is under scrutiny, because building a reputation is very difficult, losing it's very easy.
Very easy. And I was going to talk about leadership at the end of the programme, but we're on that subject now. So really, as a leader within your company, one is as we were talking about, communications and having really good communication skills, social engagement, and walking in every day with that smile on your face. And even if you're walking down the high street and surrounding streets, you still have to have that smile on your face, because that is, you are your brand, you're a walking billboard. So what would you say makes a good leader? What skills and personal attributes does someone have to have good leadership skills?
See, I think that staff are becoming more educated as well. This idea that, okay, someone who can stand up in front of people and rah, rah, rah is gone. Mm-hmm. It used to be the old adage, and leadership has really evolved, especially over the last 20 years, from a more hierarchy type leadership where I'm the boss, I stand in front of people, I tell people what to do, and I look strong. Actually, no. What has become more evident over time, and you think we should have noticed this before, but what became more evident over time is the more democratic way of leadership has become much more efficient. Because being a good leader means that you listen. And being a really good listener means what that does for your staff and your staff's morale is that they feel that they're engaged.
Mm-hmm.
Your staff really has to feel like they believe, one, that they can follow you, but two, that their opinion matters. There has been a real shift in the workforce in the last 15, 20 years, where it used to be I'd go into a company and I see my career path the next 20 years. Now people have so much more options in terms of where they can work, and especially now with I suppose thanks to COVID and the advent of remote working and companies being happy with it, there are many more options for people to go into different companies and different organizations. Where people feel strong is when their leaders show them that they're needed and they have a voice. And this democratic way of leadership has really evolved and shown that it's more efficient, because companies really do better when their staff feel like they are shaping the company. Like, even if you're a small little business and you've a couple of staff or other people, when people feel that their voice is listened to by a leader and that their opinions matter, they're able to push forward. So listening is very important. Two, I would really jump on board the fact that hardworking and organised. Your staff see that. Your clients see that. They see that you are engaging. They see that you communicate well with them. They see that you're happy. And when that's there, because you can't get away with it. It's hard to hide any of these sort of traits, or hide not having any of these traits, that it pushes people forward. You have to have good social skills. You have to be motivational. You have to be hardworking, and you have to have perseverance. You have to power through. People want to see that. And those leadership skills really show that, yes, I am not this. So my background, I played quite a lot of rugby, and it used to be said for years that, oh, well, look, those leadership skills on the rugby field. I wouldn't believe that at all. If you went into a business and tried to lead it like you were leading a rugby team, you'd very quickly lose the team.
Yeah.
Because, and so there really has been this misnomer of leaders are strong and loud, but which is completely wrong. Leaders are really welcoming, can generally be soft-spoken and understanding. And you have empathy for your staff will really believe in you. And that's what a good leader does. It finds a way to get the very best out of the people that work with them.
And when you have all them attributes and personal attributes, they flow over to your work, to your leadership styles. And also, if you can, everything that you've just mentioned, that builds up trust. And when you trust your leader, you'll follow them to the earth and back.
Absolutely. But it's the people know that the leader will stand in front of the train for you.
Yeah.
Again, it's like I said back, they're the one taking the risk, so they have to show that. So if you are in charge of a company, the risk is on you. And when you can show to your staff, one, we do this as a team, but two, I will take the hit if it doesn't work out. And that builds trust.
Yeah.
Continually showing that I will take any negative sort of connotations that come from what we're doing, and to show that to people really builds people. Like you said, the word trust, it becomes paramount in how you interact with your staff and how you lead a company. And you want your customers to trust you as well.
And that's really important, as we said, the trust. And also, Mark, leadership skills, they're not just, they're learned as well, but that's the joy of a skill. You can learn them skills.
Yeah, I don't believe that anything to do with running a company, anything at all is just a genetic thing. Like I mentioned it before in terms of my own personal social skills, and an anecdote to how I got good at speaking in front of people is that I travelled the world quite a lot. So I lived in a couple of different countries like Australia and America and things like that. And I had a much thicker Irish accent than it sounds like I have now. And I had to learn to sort of water down my accent. I'm from Kildare myself, and right now probably most of your listeners think I'm from South Dublin somewhere. But the fact is that I had to really slow down how I spoke. I had to enunciate a lot more, just so people could understand. And then, living in America, generally, they believe that if you've got an accent, you're more intelligent, and so that builds confidence went across. And so when I was standing in front of rooms and conversations, people actually were listening, and that built your own personal, I suppose, confidence to how you communicated and how you got across. But it comes from practice.
Mm. And that
really does, in all of these different skills that you're doing. Because I believe, you could look at a list of characteristics of entrepreneurs or characteristics of good managers, and every one of them is something that is a learnable skill.
So now, Mark, we're going to talk about what is a business plan, why is it so important, and how do we begin to design our own business strategy?
Okay, yeah. So business plans are a funny thing. I think the main misnomer for a business plan is that business plans are just to raise money. A lot of people go out there thinking, I'm gonna do a business plan because I gotta get a loan. Now, yes, it's a very important tool for that, but actually it covers quite a few other areas that a business plan is important for. My number one thing in terms of, let's say I'm a business manager or I'm running a business, having a business plan is essentially having a boss, because you aren't held to account anymore when you're in charge. If you came out of, say, the working world and you're used to having managers and bosses and things like that, it becomes very difficult for you to organise your life. And that's what the business plan really helps you do. It's a set of goals, it is objectives, it's a timeline. All of these different things are put together within the business plan so that you can hold yourself to account. And you need to be held to account. You need to be upset when you don't hit the objectives that you put into your business plan. And it needs to really hold you to task. Business plans cover quite a multitude when you put them together, and it's not something you could write overnight. But what it should have is a few different things. It starts as an action plan. So all of these large tasks we talked about earlier in terms of, say, being an entrepreneur, you believing this company should be worth X amount in 3 years, or I need to make a number of sales, a lot of revenue in this year. You need to take that big number that you did and chop it down and make it into a smaller, less intimidating task to reach. And the business plan can do that. It can give you certain objectives of what I need to hit in a week, what I need to hit in a month, what I need to hit in a quarter, and the end of the year. So what sort of sales I need to make continuously so that you can plan to aim at those. It can have different other objectives in it as well, like the amount of customers that you have, maybe the size of the store you have, how big will my reach be in terms of marketing or social media. All those different areas are there. So you have that as an action plan. It also is a roadmap. So in terms of that, it gives you a roadmap to where you need to be. Be it I want to offer different services or products within my company. When am I going to do that? And how do I get to the point where I deliver them? Same thing can be said about the goals that you want to reach. Okay, so you'll have all of that. Then it's also a performance tool. And performance management is part of business management. So you put together all these goals and things, and after each month or each quarter, you're going to look back. You're going to have your business plan in front of you, and you're going to look back and you're going to see, look, did I reach the performance goals I put out in place? The different areas I put in place within my business plan. And lastly, then, it is a promotions tool. So it is used to persuade investors and lenders. So you need a business plan if you're going to go to a bank. Okay? You need a business plan if you're going to go to, say, angel investors. You need a business plan if you're looking for grants. And they all look for different things. So if you're going to a bank, generally a bank likes to see, have you the ability to repay a loan, and have you any form of collateral. So they want to see that, and they want to see it within your business plan. How are you going to repay the loan? While investors want to see that is the company going to grow. Generally, they like to make 20% on their money over 3 years, something like that. So they want their money to grow, or at least, and in turn, the company to grow over 20%. While grants, on the other hand, want to see a few different things. Grants tend to want, so if you're looking for a grant, they want to see two main things. They want to see that maybe you're going to hire people over the next few years, and they want to see, is your business going to go international? And those sorts of things are important for grants. So you have it as that promotions tool. And the thing itself then covers a multitude. What it'll cover within it is you're going to have your sort of market research. And market research is pivotal for any decision-making process that you do. So you would cover things like who your competitors are. What are they doing in the marketplace? It would cover, is there a demand for your product or service? It would cover what are the characteristics of your type of customer, right? And have you really looked at their characteristics and what are they doing? So your market research is very important for that. And then there'll be a plan of marketing will go into it. How are you going to reach your specific customer? Is it over different social media platforms? And for small SMEs now, social media has been a real godsend in terms of marketing and digital marketing in general, for the likes of, say, Google AdWords and Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, LinkedIn, Pinterest. There's so many that you're able to find your type of customer, and with any of these different platforms, you can go to them and tell them the characteristics of your customer, and you can nearly laser focus in on that the only people are seeing your ads are people that fit your type of demographic. And so that's all very important in there on how your marketing plan is going to work. You'll also have to have an operations plan in there. How do the operations of this company work? What are the day-to-day operations? How do you make the product? How do you deliver the product? How are you going to sell the product? All of that will be within your operations plan. You need to show people what the management and organizational structure is of the company. So essentially you're putting in mini CVs in there for yourself and whoever else is involved. And even if you have mentors, people that are giving any sort of advice towards the company, it's always good to have them in your business plan. And because they're people you can turn to, and they're part of your organizational structure. And lastly is your financial plan, the one that people get scared of the most a lot of the time. And that really shows the important one there is kind of a projected cash flow statement, which would show how you're spending money on a month-to-month basis. And let's say you're starting, how do you go from zero to, say, a break-even company where you don't lose any money, but you don't make any money either, to a profitable company? So they're the steps. And showing, is this company going to grow continuously? Because when you're looking to raise money from, let's say, a bank or even an investor, they need to see that the company has plans to grow continuously over the coming years and how it goes. And that is essentially the whole business plan put down in a bit of a spiel, as I say.
And Mark, how do we review our business management and our business plan? How would we review it and make sure that we're staying on track and we're achieving the goals and objectives of the business plan?
See, I always say that your business plan within your business is another employee. It's your boss. It's a living, breathing organism that needs to continuously change. And it is something that will continuously change because most of it's projections. We don't know what's going to happen. If you'd written a business plan just before the COVID hit, you might as well have ripped it up and had to start again. So the fact is that you have to continuously look at what goals you set. I always would be a fan of any goal that you set, be it financially or growth goal, make it realistic. Goals, and some people might have heard this before, need to be SMART, which is an acronym for specific. So any goal that you have needs to be specific. It needs to be then measurable. So you need to be able to put a number on your goals so that when you come to review if you hit them or not, it's not a goal, well, are my staff happy? Because what is the level of happiness? How do I actually put a number on that? You need to make sure, did my staff hit their specific numbers? Was it their sales goals? Was it the amount of products that they created? Any of these sort of goals? Or was it the number of people that liked us on Facebook or something like that? It is a number, so it has to be measurable. When you're thinking of a goal, make it something attainable. I know we'd all love to be the next Mark Zuckerberg and, we'd love to be billionaires and something, but let's be attainable, right? Something that's out there that for certain you can hit, okay? And I would always be a fan in any business plan is err on the side of caution. Don't be putting out these huge numbers that you think you can hit, where you say, look, that's a realistic number. I can hit that. That's something realistic. Okay? And the last one is that each goal needs to have a time limit on it. Okay? So it has to be smart, measurable, attainable, and realistic, and it has to have a time limit. Because, if I say I've got a goal, but I didn't put a time limit on it, and it continues and continues and continues, you're not really having an ability to assess, are you hitting goals or not? And so going back and assessing that goal list is important. And we use a thing called key performance indicators, called KPIs. Mm-hmm. Now, KPIs are essentially goals, but they're the areas of your business where you've gone and go, these are the key areas of the business to show that we are performing. So be it a sales number, be it customer service. A number would be how many good feedback did we have, how much bad feedback did we have, and how do we lower that? And this needs to be reviewed on a monthly basis. Your goals really do need to be looked at monthly. And when you do that, so let's say I looked at last month and I'd set this goal for sales, and I blew the number out of the water. I didn't know it. Now it's a champagne problem, obviously, but I blew the number. I blew the number away. You're like, well, obviously I was being way too, I suppose, nervous about what I was going to hit. So what I do is the next month you've got to push it up, and you've got to push yourself a little further. If it goes the other way, you go, wow, I was being unrealistic about what we could possibly hit. Okay, so I always say when people are doing it and giving their business plan to a bank is pick a number in terms of revenue that you 100% think you can hit and take 20% off it.
Right.
Because the fact of the matter is if no bank, no investor is going to look at a number and then you smash that number out of the water and they go, oh no, that's terrible. They're not going to say that. So for your own sake, and then you reevaluate. Because some months a lot of businesses are cyclical and you don't know what sort of threats are out there that could attack your business, and you have to be able to show that going forward. And that's the best way for you to do an assessment of your business going forward and to continue that management assessment going forward.
I would never thought of two things what you just said there really struck out to me was in the business plan. Even put down your mentors in the business plan. That really struck out for me. And in the revenue, financial revenue, deduct minus 20% of it. That really, I never heard that before. I never seen that before. And I just think that's amazing. I never thought about the mentors being so important in your business plan.
Well, the thing is, early on, you have a small organizational structure. Real small. Now, people aren't starting businesses with 20 people in them overnight.
No.
And you are out there taking professional advice from people who have either done it before or have a certain set of skills in that area. And it shows any sort of potential investor, be it a bank or be it just an angel investor, it shows them that you're smart enough to know you don't know everything.
Yeah.
None of us do. And that you're getting professional help from others, and they realise that's a good leader. And a good leader and someone who can lead a business forward is someone that's out there getting professional advice, knowing their weaknesses and trying to grow that area. And if you have mentors, you're able to turn to them, and that makes them an asset to the business and can help you a little bit going forward.
Mark, so, we've talked about the KPIs and how to review. What is a PEST and a SWOT analysis?
So Pest and SWOT analysis are really part of strategic management, because when you build a strategy for your business going forward, you need to have as much information as possible so that you can decide what area am I going to go into, how am I going to grow this business, what do my customers look like, is there a marketplace that I'm not hitting. So you have a couple of things that you have to look at. The first one I'd start with is the SWOT, because that looks at two things. It looks internal and it looks external. So you're looking at your business with S and W, where it is, what are your strengths? And a SWOT analysis is for yourself. I wouldn't recommend that you put your SWOT analysis in your business plan. It's for you, where you are brutally honest with yourself of what strengths you have and what weaknesses you have. The most important thing there is your weaknesses, because once you know what they are, they're ones that you can go out and try and learn for. It's where you need to grow your own knowledge base. So you have your strengths and weaknesses. Next, then, what you're looking at is opportunities for the business externally, and then threats to the business. So opportunities and threats. So you do an analysis, and I recommend anyone at any time do this, and no matter how old your business is, you've got to do SWOT analysis regularly enough, because what it has you doing, it has you looking outwards towards the marketplace. Mm-hmm. What opportunities are there, what trends are coming, and what threats might possibly cause issues for your business. I'm sure not a lot of people could have planned for a global pandemic, but when it started, people started finding opportunities within that area. I was blown away when it happened for a lot of businesses, and mine as well. It's like, before the pandemic, I never did online courses. It was all in person, standing in front of people, and that was great. And when the first lockdown hit, my entire business went to zero overnight. I was booked out for the year, went to zero overnight. Now the business has grown exponentially, because it turns out that more companies are willing to sign up for different courses and different types of training, because they don't have people crying off. They don't have to get people into a room to do it. People can be anywhere. And so that's really expanded our business. We started with one Zoom account, and so we now have 6. And it's really helped grow. But that was just seeing that opportunity very quickly. And other businesses have done great with it. I know restaurants and have taken a really hard knock with it all. But what a lot of them have done is now that restaurants that wouldn't bring on things like Deliveroo, that didn't offer takeaway options, now do it. They're not going to be getting it when everything is, luckily we're open now, hopefully it stays, touch wood. The fact is that they have these different revenue streams together, that their businesses will now be stronger. So they've seen the opportunities within the threat. And if you can see threats coming in, maybe you can then see opportunities to either counteract them or find different revenue streams that your business has the capability of doing. So you have to continually looking at the opportunities and threats out there. And that's what a pest analysis is. So pest analysis is you look at political, economic, social and technological factors that might affect your business. So what different political stances are coming from the government that are out there, even internationally, in terms of trade, things like that, that could either be an opportunity or a threat to you. Different economic policies that might be existing, how the economic landscape looks within a certain country, be it Ireland, and how that's affecting your business, and how will that change your own personal sales model, and does it show, can you bring in more areas that you might be able to do business in? And then, socially, what are the big social changes that are happening? And there has been massive social change in this country in particular, across the last 10 years, in terms of different things that we have. We should have always been accepting, but that we have now, in terms of different referendums we've done, and showing, okay, there's a social environment here that we can, I don't want to use a different term, but take advantage of for our business and grow our business. And then technological advancements. The thing that's really happened in terms of business, and Ireland was terrible for it before the pandemic, is that e-commerce, wasn't as strong as you thought, because most SMEs across Ireland, and you find it very hard to believe, but a huge amount, over 40% of the SMEs across Ireland didn't have websites before the pandemic. And of the ones that did have websites, there was only 60% of them that did e-commerce. This was before the pandemic. Now a lot have really found it. And so technologically speaking, there's been such huge advances that have happened because of the pandemic. And it took, something as terrible as that to really have companies pushing themselves forward, because they needed to make revenue to survive. They needed to advance to survive. So now we have a country of consumers who expect. Like we had it before. 95% of people that use the internet bought things on the internet before the pandemic. But now they expect that any shop they go into, any company that they want to purchase to, that they can purchase online, that they can do tap payments, that they can pay with their say their Apple Wallet or their phone or any of these sort of things. They expect things to be easier, and companies have to do that to keep up, because you'll find that people won't purchase from a certain company because they don't have the technological advancements that make their life easier. And there's really no need for not having it, because all of these companies have made it so easy to sign things up like that, and so in growing that. So you do a pest analysis to look at the different things, the different trends, the different threats that are out there, and the different opportunities that are out there that could affect your business. And I recommend that any company does them either on a, probably on a bi-monthly basis.
Right.
Have to sit down and do that research.
I'm taking notes of that. Mark, so tell us, you are renowned and to be a very good mentor, and I can experience that, speak for that myself. Why is it important? What makes a good mentor? And why is it important for business owners or even a business manager to have good mentors?
Well, I would say there's a few different reasons to have good mentors, and thank you for saying I can do it. But the fact is that you, as a manager or a business owner, you tend to be on an island. And sometimes you can feel like you're an island, and you need people that you can turn to who may have nothing to do with your business, not a competitor, maybe not even in the space, but are business managers or business owners themselves, or have been and done that, who you can bounce things off. And you need to bounce certain ideas and plans off a voice that's educated or experienced in making decisions like that. So that's a really good reason to have someone like that, someone who can maybe take all the ideas that you have and give you a little bit of direction. Because most entrepreneurs are very smart people, are very driven people, and have 100 different ideas going on in their head, and they nearly need someone to give them permission to go do it, and someone to say, look, you're on the right track, or someone to say, maybe you should relook at that, and someone that you can trust that way. Finding a good mentor can be difficult. It's one of those areas where, you don't all hang out and go into the local pub, you're going to find one. It's trying to find someone who may be in your industry but not a competitor, or someone who is in maybe a parallel type industry who runs a business and would be willing to sit and have coffee with you now and then. What you'll find, especially with business leaders, and hopefully your listeners feel this for anyone who is running business, that you know how difficult it is to run a business. So you tend to be fairly generous with your time in terms of helping someone else who's doing it. So if there's certain areas of business that you find are weak for you, someone is always willing to help, as long as you're not a competitor. Some of your local enterprise offices are pretty good for this as well, in terms of business mentors. And I know the Leos actually have a mentorship program, so I would recommend that you check in there and say, oh, well, look, I'm looking for someone to be a mentor for me. And it's funny, some people think mentor, or especially for listeners who would like to be a mentor as well, it's not taking up a huge amount of your time. It's not you suddenly have to really throw yourself into someone's business. People running businesses and starting businesses are intelligent. They know their business fairly well. They just need direction. So a good mentor is someone that can give direction, can say, oh, maybe don't look at it that way. And a lot of time, and even in the case of when yourself and myself talked, Roisin, it didn't take a lot to just send you on the right track.
No.
And it didn't take having to give you masses of in-depth knowledge. You're very intelligent yourself. It was more just saying, maybe look at it this way. Maybe use this as a tool. Maybe push towards this area. What do you think? And a lot of time what that does is it takes someone's jumbled ideas and it gives them a direction. And that's what we need a lot of time as business owners or managers or stuff. It's just either permission or a direction, and someone to say, try it that way, someone you trust.
And it's funny how you're just sitting down to someone and that gives the startup business owner, it gives them confidence when they're just chatting to someone who's been there, knows business management, knows the structure and the process of business. And that's what really, I must have you on someday talking about business confidence, Mark, because I think that's a massive big issue for startups and small local businesses, is business confidence.
Absolutely. I think that a lot of people have these ideas, and I meet quite a lot of entrepreneurs or potential entrepreneurs, and especially if they're doing, say, one of the Start Your Own Business courses or things like that, and they have great ideas. They just need direction, and they just need to be told, absolutely, this is a great idea, go for it. And when they do that and they're given that, it gives them a boost. And mentors, that's what they're there for. Because mentors, and especially entrepreneurs, they want to see more entrepreneurs. They want to see people successful, because that, builds up their confidence. I always say anyone who talks to me or anything, just add me on LinkedIn or stuff like that, solely because I want to see how well their businesses are doing. I want to see how they're doing going down the line, because that's what excites me about it, is people out there starting businesses. In the last 2 years, Roisin, in more than in any other time in human history, there has been more businesses started in the world. And that's wonderful.
Unfortunately, Mark, we've run out of time. I could talk to you all night about this, but we'd love to have you on again in the future talking about more issues regarding business management. I want to really thank you for taking the time out of your day to talk to Community Radio Kilkenny City's Start Me Up business programme listeners. We really do appreciate it.
No problem at all. My pleasure.
Thank you so much indeed, Mark Ivers. Thanks a million, Mark.
Take care.
Take care.